Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Crash Bandicoot Deluxe figure with Aku Aku mask, which also includes 3 interchangeable heads. And I'm guessing that this is the final time we will be seeing Crash from NECA. I kind of hope so. I feel like this cow is just milked completely dry. And I guess that's a good thing for all of you Crash Bandicoot fans, if you are interested in buying what's essentially the same figure multiple times. Which I also feel like if they're going to reissue this figure so many times, probably should have been a little bit better. That's my feeling on it. I mean, just look at it. It doesn't match this at all. It's the wrong colors, basically everywhere. The pants aren't sculpted well, the shoes are the wrong thing, the hair is the wrong thing, the face isn't the right face, we don't have a thumbs up hand. I mean, it's just, I feel like they just really saw a giant dollar sign with Crash Bandicoot and just are making lots and lots of money. And I don't fault any company for making lots and lots of money unless it's at the expense of the product, and I feel like this product should be a whole lot better for as much as it's being reissued essentially. So, if you need to see any more of the review, let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, this guy stands just about 6 1/4 inches to the top of his hair, about 5 1/4 to the top of his head, which makes him about 13 and 15.5 centimeters, right around there. And like I said, it's basically the exact same figure as before, and that's not really a good thing, because the figure is good enough, but not good enough to sell a bunch of different versions of it, which are all essentially the same version. It's just totally inaccurate. The color scheme is not right at all. The hair should be brown. His yellow is way too yellow. His orange is not reddish brownish enough. The shorts are not a good sculpt. The shoes are sculpted well enough, I guess, but they're not the right color. It's all around just not right. And that's, I mean, it didn't bother me so much in the beginning, but now that they're reissuing it over and over again without making any changes, it's starting to bug me a little bit. And then we have things like the shading issues. This one's not shaded too poorly. There's a little bit of feathering going on, but for the neutral face, there's almost none. It's basically just a hard cut line between the dark orange and the light orange. So that's a problem. How's this one? This one's the best shaded out of all of them. I guess it's mostly on one side though. So, not great. The paintwork on the mouth's not great. This one has a lot of black on the teeth. And how about this one? This one's not terrible. It's okay. It's just, for something like I said that's being reissued so much, they should be getting slightly better, at least in the paint department from iteration to iteration. We don't have the sticky shoulders anymore, so that's good, but otherwise the paints really haven't changed. He's still sculpted off center, so his belly button, which is a huge hole, is not in the middle. And so you have to kind of leave him turned a little bit, which is not great. And, well, we'll get to the rest as we go. So aesthetically speaking, 5 out of 10. It's not accurate. It's not accurate in the paint department at all, and it hasn't gotten better. Not okay. As far as accessories go, we get the interchangeable head. So we have the one neutral head, which is him looking forward, and that's fine. By the way, all of the eyebrows are on double ball pegs, so you can pose them around pretty well, which is a good thing. Like, they did a good job with that. This figure is not an absolute fail or anything. It's just the paint job is so wrong that it's bothering me. But we have the neutral head looking forward, then we have the one where he's smiling looking off to the side, and then we have the one where he looks crazy and his mouth is wide open, and that's that for the heads. And then we get the mask that sits on his nose, which, I mean, I don't remember this from, I mean, I remember it being in the game, but I don't remember it specifically. It looks ridiculous, so I don't know. I mean, it looks okay from the front, but as soon as you look at it from any other angle, it's ridiculous. So I don't know if that's accurate to the game or not. They did a really good job with the mask, though. The feathers are painted well, the leaves are painted well, the face part, it's all really well done. So I guess if that's what it's supposed to look like, then cool. So accessory-wise, I'll give it a 7. Only because I don't like the way the heads look. It's nice to have alternate heads, but if they don't look good, then what's the point? So as far as the articulation goes, this is something NECA did do a really good job of. You can lean the head all the way back pretty much. It looks all the way up. Doesn't lean down any farther than it already was, but it does rotate and lean side to side a little bit. So it's pretty good. For having no neck at all, they did a really good job, and SH Figuarts made Mario with no neck, and it can't be posed at all. So this is really, really nicely done. Very good job. As I mentioned, the eyebrows are on double ball pegs, so you can move them around very nicely. They pose very well, so that's cool. Shoulders are on a swivel hinge. they still suck. You can really force them if you want to, but the hinge part blows. The swivel is okay. Wrists are on a single jointed elbow, which give you about 90 degrees and a swivel. The wrists are on a swivel hinge as well, but they put the hinge in the arm rather than in the hand, which is not the right way to do it, because now you can pose him like this, which is just stupid. You have to have it the other way around. You need the hinge to follow the swivel, not the other way around. So that sucks. Torso is really done well again, just like the neck. You can get great range out of his torso and head. I like that. They have a solid figure here for the most part, if it wasn't for the terrible paint job that's not accurate at all. Until we get to the hips. The hips are on ball pegs and the pegs are basically completely vertical. So you don't really move them out to the side at all. Moving them forward is minimal. Moving them back is non-existent. You can swivel them though. Luckily these aren't popping off like the last issue, but still very minimal range in the hips. We have a swivel hinge for the knee. I can't get either of them to bend all the way. Oh, this one finally went. So we have a swivel hinge in the knee that gives you a little bit less than 90 degrees. And of course a swivel. And then the last point of articulation is a ball peg in the shoe, which despite having no reason to have limited range, has very limited range. So you're not going to really be able to pose this guy beyond some very, very basic posing. And so that kind of blows. So this is like the epitome of milking something as far as I'm concerned, and since it hasn't improved with the iterations, I'm not okay with it. Articulation wise, 4 out of 10, it's not good. Final verdict on this guy, you guys know I support NECA in pretty much everything they do that warrants supporting. And I was on board for this Crash Bandicoot thing when it first started, but I had no idea they were going to milk it as hard as they are, and like I said, the paints are just not, they're not right. There's no arguing that. It's not accurate paint job at all. And the articulation is good where it shouldn't be, in that the neck and torso work exceptionally well when you wouldn't have expected it, but the rest of the articulation is just completely phoned in. So ultimately, I'm not pleased with this. I don't see the value in having this. Like, if you already have the first one, do you really need to buy this again? I would argue you don't. I would argue you don't. Or don't buy any of the previous ones and just buy this one if you want the alternate heads. But that's kind of hard to do if you already bought them along the way, which is good business planning, but crappy for the customer. So I'm not on board. So final verdict on this set, only 6 out of 10 overall. It's not great. I can't say I recommend it. Honestly, objectively, I can't say I recommend it. Sorry, NECA. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe, you probably should, because I do have thousands of videos already on the channel and new ones just about every single day. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.